evening, everyone. I'm back. I'm Kuya Ryan Daes, welcoming all of you to the first episode of Season 6 of our RFC Tuesday podcast. I'm back after practically a season of hiatus in hosting. So it's great to be back, and I'm so excited with our topic for this season. So the title of Season 6 is The Role of Financial Planning in Philanthropy. Our first episode is entitled Introduction to Philanthropy in Financial Planning. Our first guest, as well as our guest anchor for the season, will be helping us get introduced or get acquainted to philanthropy as part of a financial consultant's practice. But before we start, let us thank IARFC Philippines, the Philippine chapter of the International Association of Registered Financial Consultants, for putting together this podcast. The IARFC Philippines is an association dedicated to the craft of financial consulting. The association is the sole organization authorized to conduct the RFC conversion courses as well as continuing education in the field of financial consulting. I'm your host for tonight. I am Kuya Ryan Daes, a registered financial consultant, a chartered wealth manager, and a registered estate planner. Tonight's guest is Dr. Glenda M. Antonio, RN, RFC, CFRM, DMEM. Haba, no? Ang daming titles. Dr. Glenda has been a member of the IARFC Philippines since 2006. She was a 6-time member of the MDRT, and she specializes in financial planning for institutional sustainability of religious congregations, organizations, and schools in the Philippines. She has developed seminars and workshops on financial management, retreat programs on personal finance and financial stewardship. She authored the book entitled Discovering Your True Wealth. She is a consultant for philanthropy, a certified fundraiser manager from the Indiana University of the USA. She has a doctorate degree in management with a major in educational management. She is a nurse by profession. So very caring po talaga siya by nature. Kasi for you to go into that field, di ba, kailangan maalaga, di ba? So silang heart and soul ng healthcare. And she is presently the president and CEO of Spring Rain Global. Our special guest for tonight and guest anchor for Season 6, none other than Dr. Glenda M. Antonio. So let's give her a round of applause and welcome her to the RFC Tuesday podcast. Dr. welcome to the 6th season of the RFC Tuesday podcast, and thank you for being our guest and guest anchor as well for the entire season.
Thank you, and good evening, everyone. Thank you for having me here. Thank you, Ms. Grace, for giving me the opportunity to share my practice in the financial planning. And I'm excited to be with you in this season.
Wow. Grabe ang energy ni Dr. Actually, the first time I heard her share about philanthropy, everybody was energized in the room. So, ayan, she's bringing that same energy here with us tonight and for the entire season. So again, thank you, Doctora, and you're very much welcome to join us anytime. So first off, siguro, things that any RFC would want to know is, what is the company that you represent? Who is Spring Rain Global? What does it do? Ano ba yung vision, your mission nyo? What do you intend to do for people?
Thank you. First of all, thank you again, Miss Grace, for allowing me to share about the company that I founded. So Spring Rain Global is a consultancy firm. I founded that 14 years ago. That was a few years after 2008. That was when I was RFC in 2006. I got into the practice 2000 from then on, and then I opened my own company. It is a consulting firm that addresses two major consultancy services: financial planning and philanthropy. And our goal in the firm is to assist and to journey with individuals towards their path to long-term sustainability. So, bakit po sustainability yung naging core? Kasi alam naman natin na our profession as a financial planning really aids, no, Sir Ryan, towards the ability to be objective in the way we plan things. Now, moving towards that road to financial planning, there are areas that needs if you are supporting an organization or a personal client for financial planning, you'll come to a point that you're actually doing the side of wealth accumulation. I realized that in doing so, there's a component pa din na kailangan may significance. The philanthropy part is living a life of significance. So as we create financial planning and combine it with philanthropy, through the years, we've witnessed how being able to care also for the community using our practice helps make the world a better place. So we are doing seminars and various ecosystem events. And our main thrust is really to set up or professionalize the work of philanthropy with the help of financial planning. Kasi po, whether or not you are from an individual or organization, meron talaga tayong heart to care for humanity. That in itself, later po I'll explain that that's philanthropic in its nature. And kinombine ko with philanthropy because, financial planning because hindi po siya complete ang roadmap mo if you don't plan. So it grew for more than a decade, and I got the accreditation of the IARFC, of course, and then the certificate in fundraising management, because financial philanthropy is not just a volunteer work, it's actually a profession. So I registered the company in the Philippines, and then eventually when I studied in the US for several courses, I had clients there. And so I had to register the company in the US. And because we also want to be significant in Asia, I also did register it in Asia Pacific to be exact, so that we could cover several different clienteles, both in the field of financial planning and philanthropy.
Wow. So exciting and very informative. Um, when most people are just planning to start their practice in the Philippines, you have already considered international practice. So I guess marami pa tayo mapag-uusapan maganda, Doktora, in the future. I hope
Yes.
we can still get you as a guest, maybe in one of our continuing education in the association. Anyways, let's move forward with question number 2. What made you study RFC and join IARC? And how long have you been a member of the association? What is the impact of IARFC in your profession? What's the advantage or the advantages that you were able to receive for being a registered financial consultant and a member of IARC? Do you intend to produce more RFCs in your organization?
Thank you. So I am the second of 7 siblings in the family. And I had been gifted and blessed na in-entrust ng dad ko ang magiging co-breadwinner niya. And because of that, I realized na kailangan akong matutong something somewhere. Hindi ko alam kung paano. So I entered in the insurance business. I am a licensed underwriter of Insular Life for the past, since I started, 21 years old. Pero may kulang dahil it only talks about products and all. And so when IARFC was offered in 2006, I was one of the few that attended the batch. I was overwhelmed by that time. RFC at that time was not the same as now, if you remember. The world was completely different in 2006 versus ngayon, diba? At least now we've done our part to educate a lot of people. But at that time, it was not the same. But I immersed myself for a personal reason. Because as a breadwinner of the family, I need to support the now without sacrificing my own future. Kasi if you are sacrificing something now, tendency is you might not be able to support your future kasi naubos na lahat kasi ako nga breadwinner, ganyan-ganyan. And true and behold, by wisdom ni God, He guided me that I created my own plan syempre, in the thesis, no, I have to choose my own. And then I did practice for my own. It was for a personal reason. Until such time na I decided to really practice it in the financial planning world. And my clients in the insurance business were various different persons and organizations. So nung I started doing it in the organization setup, dun ko na mas lalong na-appreciate that financial planning plays a very important role. Kaso lang, there was a struggle because it's given for free. Free ang financial planning services. But I really am an advocate that it is a profession and therefore it is totally different from the product that you're selling. As an RFC, you are a professional. As an agent of any organization, iba naman ang incentive mo for that is for the product solutions. So I had the struggle of professionalizing it in a way na we were like doctors ba na when somebody goes to you, there are times that you need to give it for free, but there are also times that when it's so tedious, especially for institutional, you have time, you need time. So it has to be professionalized. So as a member of RFC in 2006, I really loved the profession. And di lang ako masyadong nag-engage sa association with fellow RFCs because I was too busy with my clients, building it up over the past years until I know, and I've sent some of my staff also to study na kasi I want to have more RFCs growing in my organization. So ang advantage was I become more knowledgeable. I become more objective in the manner of how I do things because when it comes to financial decisions, it is never emotional, di ba? You cannot say, takot ako or galit ako. It will all be stipulated in the objective data. And if the data shows, then do something about your data. You don't have to worry about it emotionally. You need to craft it in an objective plan. So that for me is a very good start of something you want to do beyond just selling the product solution. So I was the one who like combined professional charging of IARFCs when I registered my company and at the same time provide solutions. And I was so happy because they value the profession so much different from your product solutions. And it has to be like that kasi profession ito eh. And then if I go out of the country, ganun din sila doon when we do something. So impact is exponential. Beyond my imagination, it took me where I am now. Later on, explain ko lang yung pagpasok ng philanthropy. But yeah.
I guess this answers the one of the basic questions that most participants ask within the course. Can we really charge clients? There are very few RFC members who actually charge it. I'm glad to hear that there's another one like me. Thank you, Doctora, for validating what we've learned in the course. So let's go through the next question. So, who are your clients in financial planning? And what is the relation of philanthropy and financial planning? So let's start with that.
Start with that. Okay, sige. Most of my clients in financial planning are the same situation as mine. Breadwinners ng family. And then I come to realize na yung breadwinner pala is doing an extra mile beyond her own calling. And that in itself is a concrete example of philanthropy. So meaning, you save your own, but you need to spend for your pamangkin. You need to spend for your relatives and all that. So if you will have to combine a good plan, kailangan mong i-measure yun. So my clients are that. Donors. So nagdo-donate sila to charity, but they don't want to give up their giving. Kasi, Glenda, pag maubos ko yung donation ko ni Father, anong mayayari sa fund ko? Anong mayayari sa beneficiary ng donation ko? So, they create a platform that the cash flow of their product solution is geared to donate. So, may mga donor clients po ako. And then, I also have church clients in the interfaith groups. nilang sa Catholic, I set up institutional planning for their needs. Kasi sa kanilang financial plan po, when you look at their cash flow, the advocacies that they support, yung charity, yung community, yung feeding program, alam mo naman Sir Ryan, no? Yung mga feeding programs, sobrang laki ng need. Overwhelming ang need ng community if you are going to talk about humanitarian. And I realized na kung i-financial plan mo, ang gagawin mo sa financial plan, kahit iayos mo pa yung cash flow, kailangan talaga nilang mag-increase ng revenue. And in doing charitable planning, you need to raise money. You need to do fundraising to solve your needs, no, of your advocacy. So sa philanthropy, doon sila nagfa-fundraising ng part. So, kinombine yun. And when you do fundraising din, if wala kang financial planning, parang kang nagpa-fundraising na hindi mo alam kung magkano bang ipa-fundraise mo. Because you're saying like, para sa atin, gusto natin mag-retire, no? Gusto natin magkaroon ng ganitong mga projects. In the charitable world, meron silang mga projects. Kaso lang, yung projects nila, Sir Ryan, hindi sa kanila. Hindi para kay sister, para sa community. So, paano mo i-increase ang revenue kung ang kita ni sister is only this much? So, fundraising then comes in. In the US, they call it charitable planning. In the Philippines, wala pa, sa amin, we call it charitable planning. So, may mga different advice kami to both the church and the donors. So, later, we'll expound more on that. But, can philanthropy the relation of philanthropy to financial planning is very important. Kasi you cannot plan your charitable work without being objective how much you need. And it all stipulates there. Tsaka ano din po, paano ka maka-donate if you're a donor if you don't manage your own risk? So marami kayong ma-client on risk management kasi before they even donate, they have to cover their risk. And then I also have clients who buy policies that do nominate charity as their beneficiary. Yes.
Okay, so they become designated beneficiaries of the
Yes,
policy of
designated beneficiary.
the donors.
The donors, opo. Mm-mm.
So I like what you said about the financial planning being able to somewhat monetize or perhaps measure how much money is needed. So, ayan, it's a tip for all of our listeners, our watchers, na be serious with your course. You really need to learn proper cash flow management, and then I guess somewhat na pa-practice natin dito yung time value of money, no, Doktora?
Mm-mm.
Because we need to determine how much is needed on a yearly basis and how much fund is needed to generate that.
Mm.
So I guess that's the relationship of financial planning and philanthropy. Parang ang hirap lang i-connect sa umpisa pero in the end,
Mm-mm.
'di ba? Yun pala
Opo.
yun. Kaya palang gawin. So,
Oo.
'di ba yung inaaral natin sa financial plan, especially in retirement planning,
Mm-mm.
we can choose between capital depreciation and capital intact. I guess you use those widely in your or extensively in your practice.
Yes.
Wow.
Opo. Kasi for example, you want to donate to a scholarship program. That's capital preservation from your end.
Mhm.
And the growth of it will, kasi may mga product solutions tayo na magpe-pay out ng every 2 years, may
Mhm.
magpe-pay out ng every year. Yun ang plan na nire-recommend ko sa mga donors who donate to charity and ayaw nila na ma-depleted yung fund nila. So, may capital preservation ka doon. So, it makes them feel good kasi sabi niya, oh, napasalamatan ako ni Father. Tsaka hindi naubos yung fund ko and I feel so
Oo.
blessed, di ba? So, you just have to be more creative with partnering the two very good profession. Mm-mm.
Kasi practically every year mapro-provide na yung donation
Mm-mm.
because of
Mm-mm.
the product
Yes.
solution that was made. But again, it's on the backbone of your financial planning advice,
Planning.
no?
Yes. Yes.
Grabe. So basically, this answers the question na uh, philanthropy can really does go hand in hand with financial planning. Kasi yung
Mm-mm.
yung sustainability nung uh, philanthropy will be calculated by the things that you've done through financial planning, no?
Exactly. And yung ano din po, yung computation mo sa dream is your
Mm,
it goes beyond you na pag philanthropy kasi you're dreaming for your help to others. Pero in-incorporate mo yung dream mo at saka ang dream mo sa community. Yung dream mo, tsaka ang dream mo sa humanity. Because, ang sabi ko nga if I make you richer, Mr. Donor, I would not I'm not parang feeling ko, I should be responsible to influence the donor also na at some point in time, you have to care for humanity. Kasi if we make the donor or the person or the individual grow richer and something happens, mag-estate planning pa rin tayo. At pag mag-estate planning tayo, i-divide mo pa rin along the way,
mm,
indicating na you cannot take your wealth when you die. And if
mm,
you are not to take your wealth on your die, how significant it is that you put a little portion of that, kahit a portion lang, to charity.
mm,
No? It completes the whole process of that. Filipinos are doing a lot of charity kasi we go beyond ourselves. Tumutulong tayo, really. But we need to help them para ang kanilang tulong will not end. Na hindi na sila makadonate ngayon dahil nagkasakit or
mm,
they don't have a health fund. So, you need to cover them with health fund first. Kasi para naman, Mr. Donor, you can continue to give. You need to cover yourself with risk. So,
mm,
in the process, nabuo mo yung whole financial planning, no? Yung risk management, all the financial planning steps nabuo siya bago ka mag-philanthropy. So, in other words, it will complete your recommendations at the same time, do something significant. And nakita ko din po, when they do charitable planning, sobrang blessed sila sa kanilang life. And they get more and more and more blessing, and they buy policies to charity, to support charity.
Doctora,
Mm.
you mentioned about risk management playing a
Mm.
big role in philanthropy. So I would guess that you always include as part of your recommendation for the donors to get a life insurance coverage that would provide bigger wealth for his heirs or perhaps his beneficiaries, and included in the beneficiaries would be their favorite financial well institutions where they donate.
Mm.
Do
Yes.
you is that what you do basically?
Yes, yes. It's different, not just life insurance, because you don't only recommend to the donors to buy life insurance so that at the time of death, the beneficiary or the charity gets. It's in her lifetime. Kasi there's a product solutions also that combines variable insurance, right? Na
Hmm.
pwedeng may cash flow. So part ng cash flow niya, aside from getting on living benefit, siya nang mag-a-assign na magdo-donate siya on a regular basis on her living years.
Wow,
Oo.
exciting.
Yes,
And
and oh,
there are also products that provide anticipated endowments, I
yes,
believe.
that's exactly what I said. Anticipated endowments. And what's exciting is because whenever magpa-planning together with the donors, they get excited listening to the charity ba. And hindi ka naging focus to you alone, yayaman ka, dapat ganito ka. Kasi parang it's all about us, which is okay. But when you start thinking of the others, madedivide yung heart mo ba? Tapos natutuwa sila na, you know what, the charity becomes ganito. So, they're happy. They're happy. Mm-mm.
And then on the part of the recipient, napaplano nila yung gastos rin nila.
Gastos din nila. Opo. And
Kung
then
paano nila
they
i-disperse. Oh.
and then we teach also, kasi ang client ko is the donor and the recipient. So yung
Wow, okay.
recipient din, you need also to teach them financial planning. Kasi kung ikaw si charity and you don't have a financial plan, paano mo ma-relate sa donor magkano kailangan mo? How will you
Tama.
relate to the donor that your cash flow needs help? Ang kagandahan sa charity, the cash flow can be shared to the donor para si donor mag-fill in sa kulang. Sa atin, as a personal, we need to work harder in order for us to fill in the gaps. So the fundraising part is the philanthropy. So ang ginawa ko, I am in the middle.
Oh.
Mm-mm.
So ikaw yung parang you are the architect that puts everything
Mm,
together.
mm,
Ito may
you,
maganda akong follow-up question ni Sir Boyet Benavides, ang ating IARC president. who also happens to teach investment planning and
Mm,
management sa course. So,
mm,
does it also include you helping them out find the right investment instruments perhaps where to put the
mm,
money? Kasi hindi naman siguro lahat ng dinodonate ginagastos nila agad. Meron
opo.
siguro silang pinapasok sa investment.
And
Is it part of what you do as the
that would
consultant of
fall
the...
under creating endowments,
Oh, okay.
endowment funds. Kasi if your expenses for your charity is recurring, meaning every year
Mm-hmm.
ganun ang expenses mo, pag hindi ka mag-set up ng investment plan or endowment, for example, mauubo siya.
Okay.
Kasi perpetual yung need mo sa pagkain sa
Mm.
orphanage,
Mm-mm.
perpetual ang need mo sa scholarship. So that will lead to a capital preservation and invest it on endowments maybe, or kung anong portfolios meron, or even in the banks that preserves capital. Mm-mm.
Okay.
Pero sa
Grabe.
charity, malimit yung sa stock. Kasi sa stock investment, you cannot, because they are basically, depends on the thrust, no, of the organization. However, sa donor side, they play with stock because they want to grow their money
Faster.
exponentially and faster. But there are also charities that also do have that. Unfortunately, kailangan lang ng education part din, kasi if the stock market goes low, they get scared and they blame you for not being able to ganito, ganyan, alam mo na. So it has to be education. I really salute IARFC for really having constant education, because it starts with the knowledge. Kawawa naman yung agent or the consultant who in her or his right mind shared the platform, and then hindi niya control yung results din ba. So it would depend, but financial planning can provide many, many, many solutions. Mm-mm.
Wow. Ay, ito may follow-up question tayo naman from
Ah,
Attorney Nick Cabanyero, yung ating lecturer for estate
mm-mm.
planning.
Mm.
So maybe, well, I guess basically the question is, 'di ba? May estate planning rin bang kasama
Mm.
ang pagpa-plan
Philanthropy.
for philanthropy?
Yes, there is. Basically, especially on land, no, because there are many philanthropists or donors na who donate also land to charity. And the issues then is that if we don't come in as a financial planner, the tendency is they will not be educated to transfer the title in the name of the charity, which is happening. And what happens is, akala ni father sa kanila na yung property. But at the end of the day, the title is not to them. So what will happen? The heirs
So,
can still run after the property, di ba?
okay. Oo.
Oo, kasi meron na case na
Nightmare
ganyan.
yun.
May case na
Nightmare.
ganyan na yung property dinonate sa isang church, hindi na develop ng church. So the heirs said na, if you will not develop that, kukunin na talaga namin yan. And then you have to be careful, because the heirs will still have the right if there is no title
Yes.
of the
Yes,
property.
if
Mm-hmm.
the donation wasn't pushed through, then it's
Exactly.
still part of the estate of the donor.
Exactly. Opo. So that
Wow.
explains why it's very hard to not educate. And I will share to you in Europe, example sa Europe. Maraming mga clients doon that really needed us, no? Because in our practice, we can really go anywhere in the world. You may not
Pwedeng
just have to
international.
limit. Opo, you may not just have to limit naman, kasi may mga Filipinos working there, 'di ba? May mga Filipinos all over the world. But sa akin, mga foreign ito, experience ng fellow financial planners that I also spoke with. There are a lot of wealth that is happening na pag namatay yung isang donor at wala siyang financial plan, yung kanyang wealth frozen sa bank, 'di ba?
Oh,
So kung
okay.
'di ba, kasi wala siyang nasa bangko ang pera. So paano i-transfer ng bank ang pera niya? Wala siyang kin
Oh, single.
single. So ano mangyayari? 10 years ata magstay sa bank. If nobody claims it, then it goes
Goes to
back
the
to that
government.
state, the government. Kaya kung
Oh,
napansin nyo, may mga sulat na you inherited something in the email. Kasi maraming
oh,
mga funds in the bank that are not moving kasi there's no next in kin. lalo akong
Parang nadodormant yung account nila. So,
kasi
ini-inform ng bangko.
wala ngang financial
Walang,
planner na
oo.
nag ano sa mga wealthy people who've accumulated so much of their wealth but not able to plan well. So ganun ang mangyayari. They leave this world and they work so hard for the money and end up not being able to use that money for the purpose it brings kasi hindi nga nagkaroon ng plan. So ano mangyayari? Nasasayang yung funds. So we
Sayang,
really
oo.
have to run after sharing talaga, at least na they really have to have a financial planner. And yun, sa financial planning, pwede kang retained. Retainer ka as a financial
Okay. Oo,
planner.
yeah,
Kasi
yeah.
you're not driven by product solutions, but you're driven by the advice that you give or the plan that
Mhm.
you make every year or every month.
Kasi yung implementation nung
Yes.
plan.
Opo.
So,
Retainership siya. Para naman talaga tayong professional na
oo.
talaga nagko-coach ba? No? Oo.
Nice, no? Very exciting. Ang dami kong
Oo,
natututunan,
super.
doktora.
Oo.
Grabe, buti na lang ako anchor for this season kasama kita.
Kasama tayo,
Oo.
magde-discover. Oo.
Okay, so we're on our last question. So,
Mm-mm.
sorry kung medyo manganganak ng konti kasi sometimes we would encounter answers that you have that warrants additional questions
It's
for
okay.
clarification. Okay.
Yes.
So, what made you incorporate financial planning with philanthropic planning? What do you think is the most essential part of the financial planning process in relation to philanthropy?
Lahat ng
Hindi pa pa
process,
to last.
oo,
Sorry,
lahat ng
doktora.
process,
Hindi
yeah,
pa
it's
to last,
okay.
May isa
No
pa.
problem. Lahat ng processes ng financial planning is very helpful to philanthropy. Kasi even in the assessment, you need to know how much wealth you have, what are your assets. May mga assets kasi in the assessment na feeling mo wala nang gamit kasi na-inherit niya sobrang dami. Yung iba dyan,
Mhm.
kailangan niya niyang i-donate or yung iba dyan, kailangan niyang ano ng wealth. So assessment would play a role. Cash flow, all the more because you need to plot. Risk management, kailangan. Yung ano din, debt consolidation kasi isosolve mo yung debt para meron siyang ability to donate. And then, debt consolidation, investment planning, estate planning lalo. So all the processes of financial planning can be anchored for the ultimate purpose of charity. Mm-mm.
Parang yung last question, no? It parang foreshadowed what I'm asking right now, what I just asked. Pero grabe, napaka-powerful pala talaga ng financial planning at ang daming gamit, no? And even in philanthropy, it's
Yes.
very useful.
Mm-mm.
So, ito na yung final question, Doktora.
Mm-mm.
Can you share more about charitable planning, its impact, and to the sustainability of the following? The first one is the donors.
Opo.
How does charitable planning impact their sustainability to donate siguro?
Mm-mm. It makes them give sustainably. It allows the donor to plan their finances well, and it makes them feel good and significant. There's the feeling of significance pag ma-plan mo well, and there's a happy feeling na nakaka-survive siya financially on a personal note, but at the same time help other people. And I always believe that if we create that path to giving, blessing will double, triple. So it aided a lot to the donors. Pag walang financial planning, pwedeng mahinto yung giving niya kasi meron siyang priorities. But with financial planning, it makes charitable giving part of his or her life. Opo.
So nai-incorporate siya sa personal
Nai-incorporate siya.
objective niya.
Yes. Sali siya sa personal. Pwede naman siyang not charity eh. Pwede namang kamag-anak, pwede naman na somebody she knows in the relatives na nangangailangan ng tulong.
Mhm.
Mm.
Ay, if I may ask lang, Doktora, how do you structure the solution? Kasi from what I know, yung mga anticipated endowments,
Mm-mm.
they go directly to the owner of the policy. Tama
Yes,
ba?
yung owner ng policy ang magbigay.
Bibigay.
Hindi
Okay.
siya directly si charity ang tatanggap. So,
Okay.
ikaw mismo, as you receive your endowment, ikaw na mag-allocate. Kaya there's constant, kasi minsan yung donor sasabihin na, kanino ako kaya mag-donate ngayon or how
So,
much.
hindi kailangan na same donee.
No,
Yung,
not necessarily if the donor feels he wants to give to Africa or to to India or any parts of the world or dito sa
Kung
Philippines.
saan
So
kailangan.
yes po. Oo.
Wow, so nice. Paano naman kung sa mga
Oo.
charitable
Kung
organizations?
ikaw naman yung recipient, kailangan mo din ng financial planning. And impact yun, nun is that you will not be dependent on the donor because you will create your own plan as well. So gustong-gusto yan ng donor, yung mag-build up sila ng endowment. Gusto nila yon. So pag sinasabi ni sister, I want to build up a scholarship endowment fund. I need a 10 million endowment. So si donor, tutulong siya magbi-build up nun. Now si sister, hindi mo na talaga siyang iwanan din na hindi niya alam paano mag-build up ng endowment. So we all
Mhm.
play a role then to the charity, di ba? So yung impact is still sustainability. Value of
Gra-
money, giving the bigger dollar of the value of that dollar value ba or peso value. Kasi may inflation rate, may mga ganun. So constant talaga yung constant yung magiging client machinery mo ba. Kumbaga, as long as there are charity, as long as there are donors, you will never run out of client to be with. Globally, globally. Kasi sa
Exciting.
global naman, pwede kang bayaran sa profession mo sa time. Mm-mm.
Grabe, sobrang exciting pala talaga.
Oo.
No? How about naman sa mga community network or mga social purpose organizations? How are
Opo.
they helped by charitable planning?
Opo. Yung mga community networks naman, it allows them to understand their role in giving. Kasi if the charity shows how much they need in their work, ang community will respond to that. I give you a perfect example. Nagpa-fundraising si charity ng health fund. Kasi kailangan ng mga sisters and priests ng fund sa health. So, as a financial planner, you will tell them, etong need mo, sister. And so, ito yung need niya. Siyempre, may product solutions ka on the health fund, di ba? So, there are some communities na they donate also to the charity and they will know na how much will it be needed. How much yung amount of money needed for the health fund. Parang ganun. So, the predictability will not be annoying. Yung bang, sobra ka naman, hingi ka ng hingi ng funding. Hindi ka pa nagpaplano sa funding mo, di ba? So, it's different siguro, Sir Ryan, pag may pupunta sa'yo na charity, sasabihin, Sir Ryan, ito yung need namin for the education ng mga bata, scholarship. Tapos ikaw, being part of a network of a community, sabi mo, ay, ang kaya ko lang, sister, would be one quarter or one so ang gawin mo, you share to the other networks, no, and so that ma-complete yung pie ni sister.
Mm.
So it's becoming more dynamic and we become more of an ecosystem. Ang ecosystem kasi is you take in what you need, you share what is in excess of you. So para siyang air ba, hindi mo i-breathe ang air lahat, otherwise masuffocate ka.
Mm.
So it
At
becomes
saka,
an ecosystem.
and even what we breathe out, napapakinabangan naman ng ibang
Mm-mm.
entity,
Opo.
kumbaga.
Yes.
Wow. Grabe. It goes a full circle, basically.
Oo.
Uh, can you share with us some of your success stories in charitable planning?
Mm-mm.
Uh, like, maybe not so specific names, but situations. I don't know if you're allowed to divulge
Ano
their
na lang,
identities.
situations na lang. On a personal note, I did charitable planning for myself because I've been helping my family, no? Even if I got married already, tumutulong pa ako. So, my own financial plan is my living example of na napatapos mo. I took up nursing for the reason I want to go abroad. But when I had all my papers abroad, dito ako tinawag ng Diyos to set up as Spring Rain Global. So you know how nurses earn if we are here in the Philippines. So I had to really do my own charitable planning as well. Kasi part of my mantra kasi, even if hirap ako sa buhay, I should be able to give to charity. Tithings plays a very important role in our life. So yun ang example ko. For an example of a donor, constantly natutuwa ako dahil the endowments that the donor prepared, natutulungan yung sarili niya, at may portion pa daw siya na nakaka-donate siya sa simbahan. A
Wow.
perfect example is anticipated endowments. And sabi niya, siguro Glenda, ito na yung time na feeling ko, nare-reward ako ng blessing ng Diyos dahil hindi ako naging, I didn't think just of myself. I thought of other people. Meron akong isang very, very highly prestigious client na nag-craft ako ng financial plan for him. And he said, Glenda, I want to give to my nurse. Ano siya? Priest siya. I want to give to my nurse. And
Yung
I want to,
nag-alaga sa kanya na
oh,
nurse.
nag-alaga sa kanya na nurse. Tsaka yung dalawang pare na ano niya. So when he passed away, I had to put the pieces together. So nung binigay ko yung plan, sabi ng nurse na, kaya pala palagi kang pumupunta doon at they didn't tell me about it. Kasi sabi ko, kabilin-bilin niya sa'yo yon.
Bawal
So,
sabihin.
opo. So, yung plan, nung nabinigay sa kanya na, um, he was so happy. So, yung reward ng success story ng pag-transfer ng legacy in a more charitable way is very good. Sa mga charities naman, I think Miss Grace, when I invited her sa aming financial planning forum, she witnessed how our system in doing financial planning to philanthropy have helped charitable organizations plan their funding needs and achieve their funding goals through financial planning. So, nasusustain ang mission ng simbahan. And any
Wow.
form, Catholic Church man or ano, so we all play a major role.
Grabe. Ang charitable planning, ang philanthropy, it also extends to legacy planning.
Mm-mm.
Kakatuwa. Grabe. Lahat na halos ng area ng financial planning
It's
na
there. It's
i-connect
all there.
natin. It's all
Yes.
there. Grabe.
Yeah.
Anyways, so I guess those are just the questions that we have for
Mm-mm.
you tonight, Doktora.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for your generous sharing of your time with the RFC Tuesday podcast. Ang dami namin natutunan. There were so many insights and connection between the practice of philanthropy and the practice of financial plan. Thank you so much for
It
your
is an
time.
honor. It is an honor for me, and I'll see you in the next episodes. This is such a great blessing, and we continue to be a blessing to each other. Thank you. Thank you, Miss Grace. Thank you, IARFC. Continue your great work.
Hindi pa tayo tapos, Doktora. Let me just
Pa.
segue to for all of our watchers, our avid fans, hopefully. Please do watch out for the announcement of our next episode. Although very predictable naman because the RC Tuesday podcast is being aired every second and fourth Tuesday of each month. But do watch out for our next speaker and the topic for the next episode. For RFC public courses and continuing education, uh, training, seminars, please visit the IARFC Philippines Facebook page for announcements of schedules. And I would also like to remind all of our former participants of the RFC conversion course, those who haven't renewed their membership yet, active members are now can now receive free continuing education seminars, and you are also provided official access to the IARFC website, wherein your membership can be seen by your clients or your prospects if you are an active member of the organization. The website is www.iarfc.org. So, sana po mag-renew tayo because the association will be giving us more learnings for this year. Naka-line up na po yung ating mga continuing education. For membership renewal information, please do contact Ms. Arlene Baguyo at iarfcph@gmail.com. You can also contact her through 0917-645-7846. So, please do contact IARFC Philippines for your membership renewal. So our RFC Tuesday podcasts are shown every second and fourth Tuesday of the month. That is why it is important to follow us on Facebook. Episodes are pre-recorded and are broadcasted through Facebook Live. On behalf of our executive producer, Ms. Grace De Vera Escobar, this is the RFC Tuesday podcast saying,
it's better to be in the know than to be the last to know.
good evening, everyone. See you in the next episode. Good night.
Good night.